Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast. We're talking about commercials and weight loss. If you want to lose weight, you have got to start to think of commercials differently. And the best way to think of them is that every food commercial you see, really every commercial, but especially the food commercials, every food commercial is a hypnosis session designed to get you to overeat that food. And so hypnosis works, just so you know. But why do I say that? Because they're not trying to logically convince you to eat more food. They're appealing to your emotions and your subconscious mind. And do not think for a second that it's not affecting you. Please do not think that. Because commercials work. That's why people spend billions and billions, companies spend billions of dollars on these things because they work. And so you need to first understand that these commercials are not these benign things that are just funny, that you just ignore them and they don't matter. They matter. And they matter because they're directly appealing to your subconscious mind and they're repeating them over and over and over again to you. And so how do you deal with it? Right. Again, I just want to say one more time, the first thing is you have to look at them differently. You can't just think you're going to ignore them. You're not. And so you need to have a strategy for when commercials come on. What are you going to do? And the first solution is the best one, in my opinion, which is really to eliminate as many commercials as possible. And this is where, if you're able to, investing in some entertainment sources that are ad free is always worth that extra money because you're freeing yourself of all that negative hypnosis that they're trying to put in your head. And it is going to make your weight loss process way, way easier. The next thing is, if you have to be exposed to these commercials, is that you want to mute them or turn them off when they come on. Okay. Either one of them is infinitely better than sitting there and thinking they're not bothering you because they have little jingles in their head, the little phrases they say, funny little things they do. They're very like, they worm their way into your subconscious mind and they stay there. So again, muting it, turning it off, that's a good thing as well. And finally, if you can't do either of those things, is to almost counter program yourself when you see the commercials. Meaning, when I see soda commercials, if I'm more exposed to them, while I'm watching all the shenanigans going on in the commercial, trying to convince me to do it, in my mind, I'm thinking about all the sugar that's in a soda and how that would affect my body. Even just drinking one soda and all that sugar rush in my body, spiking my blood sugar, crashing my mood, spiking my hunger, making my entire weight management way harder. So I'm counter programming it. I'm realizing what the ad's trying to do. I'm listening to the suggestions. I'm trying to figure out how they're trying to manipulate me. Because when you counter program yourself by saying something different to yourself or trying to understand how they're trying to manipulate you, you activate your prefrontal cortex, which does help to prevent the suggestions from going into your subconscious mind. So again, I'll say it one more time. It's so important because we're so inundated with commercials that a lot of times we just kind of like, oh, that's not a big deal. They are a big deal and they make the whole process a lot harder. They trigger you on a subconscious level to crave the foods that you're actively fighting against to lose weight. And it makes it a lot more difficult. Again, if you put it in a different context, if they had heroin or cocaine commercials on, that's going to make it a lot harder for someone who's trying to kick those drugs to do it. So it really is a challenge and you need to treat it as such. Do not think that it's just this benign thing happening in the background. It is, front lines of the battle are all the advertisements and commercials coming at you. You can't fight against all of them, but you need to do some of the things I'm talking about here because you're going to find that it sets your mindset up for much more success than if you're just trying to ignore them. All right. So I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. Cameras set up, switched over. There we go. Now, see my face. See myself over there. All right. Oops. Yeah, that's good enough. So everyone's having a good day. You're at a Friday. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend coming up. I know I am. I'm ready to get the hell out of here. Go on vacation. But I'm here one Friday just before I take off, I always love to talk to my folks. So everyone's doing before the weekend. Funny times. I don't know. I've noticed, I don't know what people are thinking. I always like to try and get a temperature where people are at weight loss wise. They're trends that happen. And I don't know. It seems, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just projecting, but sometimes I get the feeling people are not in a weight loss mode. I don't know if it's the eclipse, it's Easter. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with that. Maybe you are. And I hope you are. Mario says, I binge whenever I'm stressed, but lately I'm stressed almost every single day. So you're binging almost every day, I'm assuming, is a roundabout way to say that, right? Uh, but again, I mean, you recognize I binge when I'm stressed. Okay, that's step one, right? Is to kind of appreciate what triggers the binging. Okay, so great job. Um, what's up, Laura from UK? Yeah, I got a bunch of people from the UK. That's probably the second biggest number of clients I have are from the UK. Um, so, I'll get to that question. That's a good question, actually. I haven't talked about that in a while, so I'll talk about the supermarkets in a second. But Mario, yeah. So once we realize, oh, when I get stressed, I binge. Great job, because now you've kind of connected things together. That's super. But the next step is how do I resolve this? And the first, the thing you got to get in your mind, the paradigm is that by by nature, you're intuitively always just dealing with the symptoms. We're just trained to do that. And so a lot of times say, okay, I'm a stress eater. I got to stop stress eating. That's people's first initial, like, oh, that's how I'll deal with it. But that's not a very good solution because the core problem was never dealt with. And the core problem is the stress. You got to deal with the stress. That's the problem. And the bigger problem of stress eating, the problem that's bigger than stress eating is the fact that you probably don't have a better strategy to deal with stress and to relax that doesn't involve food. Binge eating is probably your best strategy to relax when you're stressed, is what I'm saying. Binge eating might be your best strategy to de-stress yourself. Let's just say it for what it is. And so it's not about stopping that, because if you stop binge eating, stress eating, you're still going to be stressed. And now you feel like shit. So at least the food gives you temporary relief for a few minutes from it. So the bigger issue, Mario, again, is that I don't know where you're at. I don't know what you do for relaxation or stress, management. That's the conversation, though. It's not the stress eating. So we always got to find the solutions. You know what I mean? How am I supposed to lose weight like this? Yeah, well, I just answered that. It's not, again, it's not, because what does a dieter do? This is the typical thing, right? You're a stress eater and I'm stressed all the time. So what can I do? I try to stop stress eating and I can't do it because I'm stressed, So again, yeah, how do you relax? And so if you're here, what do you do for relaxation? So I don't know if you're here, but write that in, Mario. What do you do for relaxation and stress management? Like, what do you use to do that? Miriam says, I love your content. Thank you, Miriam. I appreciate that. What's up, Astrid? Oh, your studio is perfect. Thank you. Yeah, get it set up. It's kind of, everything's kind of working. I got 6 cameras here now. It's Jesus. I keep adding more and more cameras, but it makes things easier and easier. Yeah. So I don't know, Mario. I don't know if you're still here, but and I know Mario's here somewhere, so I know him. But sometimes people come in and say, "Oh, I'm a stress eater. What am I supposed to do?" And then they take off. So I know Mario's not like that. But again, it's about the solutions and stuff. So, anyways, Laura says how to navigate supermarkets. The way to navigate supermarkets, I got a couple strategies I'll share with you. The first one, I think, is the most obvious, but sometimes we forget it, is to go to the supermarket when you're not hungry. So make sure this kind of goes hand in hand, but the second part is structuring your reading. Oh, Jesus. Hot here. It's like hot here somehow. It's like muggy. And I got my heater on. I'm getting roasted. I'm one of those people, like, I start getting hot and I start getting mad. I start to get hot and worked up. And then I realize turn the heat off. I'll be fine. Okay. So yeah, supermarkets. The first part of it is that you need to structure your reading. And part of structuring your reading is structuring your logistical part, like when you're getting the food. So when you're going to supermarkets. So really what you're looking to do is structure is really important. So when you go to the supermarket, having a structure of what you're going to get there, not letting it be a free for all, but letting it be, you're going there to get what you're going to get. Okay. So kind of having a plan for what you're going to get before you even walk in the door, and then making sure you're not really hungry when you walk in the door either. I mean, there's nothing worse than walking into a supermarket being really hungry. And then, what do you think is going to happen? And managing your supermarket shopping is really, really important part of weight mastery. This is kind of logistical piece, and kind of 2 ways too. One is the obvious one, like we don't go to the supermarket and get all the bullshit and bring it into our house. But the other one is that we really want to optimize our supermarket shopping, or however you're getting your food. You want to optimize that, make it as easy as possible. Because one of the hardest parts of eating well is making sure you have the food ready to go when you're ready to eat well. And a lot of people make that mistake. A lot of smart, intelligent people, they want to eat well, And then they don't. And then they say, oh, Christ, I'm a bad person. I'm a weak-willed person. I screwed up again. What's wrong with me? Well, it turns out when it came time to eat, you didn't have the right foods available to you. You hadn't gone shopping, and now it's going to take too long or whatever, and you can't do it. So often poor eating is really a result of poor planning. And so mastering your supermarket or your food procurement is a big part of the process, And so the two kind of obvious things, though, again, is structure your eating, go in there with a plan of what you're going to get, and go satisfied, go in there pretty full and in a good place. Miriam says, I've been thinking more on how to eat healthy and I feel happy where I am. One of the foods that when I can't stop and I feel horrible is French bread with butter. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I'm the same way. Bread is my one of my bigger challenges. I'm okay with sugar. People are different. That's what it's, you always have to kind of figure out everyone's unique. But for me, like sugar wise, I never really go crazy with sugar. Like I used to eat like a lot of sugar throughout the day, but I wouldn't like binge on sugar, and that's just kind of how I am. Now, bread, on the other hand, I could eat a loaf of bread and like sourdough bread, French bread. Yeah, I got you. But what you're saying, I think, is how you start to reprogram yourself. There's nothing wrong with overdoing it on these foods as long as you learn from it, and I know people say, oh, what's that mean? But this goes back to the core of programming yourself then, that we learn from our mistakes and we're honest with ourselves. And when you overeat something and then feel like shit about it, you do that a number of times. And if you actually pay attention and use your awareness, it contributes to you finally getting a handle on things, because you start to reprogram your subconscious mind that a little bit of French bread and butter is great. A lot of French bread and butter, I guess, get carried away. I don't like that feeling, and just be honest with yourself, and you work on strategy again and program yourself. Then there's really kind of two main parts of programming yourself. Then there's the eating blueprint, knowing what to do, customized to you, and the program yourself then technique, which is really the redo rehearsal technique, which is how to get yourself to do it. There's two things you need to master your weight. You need to know what to do and how to get yourself to do it. You haven't learned either one of these things, most likely, in your weight loss travels so far, because knowing a fucking keto plan, like, oh, I'm not going to eat carbs, that's not a blueprint. That's not a structured eating plan. That's a plan of deprivation and deletion. And so we can't just go into a weight loss plan with what we're not going to do. It's not going to work. It creates a vacuum in your mind, and your mind doesn't understand it. So we have to recognize what doesn't work for us. I want to stop this is a fine place to start, but we very quickly have to get to, what do I want to do instead? And that's the secret to programming your mind in a nutshell, is really focusing on what you want to do. And to be honest, you don't know what you want to do really yet. That's what you figure out in the process. Mario says, I don't really have any coping mechanisms for stress. Just try to deal with it. Yeah. I mean, well, so you can't deal with it because you don't have any coping mechanisms. Again, this is where coaching really is helpful, because when you start saying these things out loud instead of just being in your head, you just realize, like, it becomes a lot more clear. I don't have any coping mechanisms for stress. Yes, you do. Binge eating. I just try to deal with it. You don't try and deal with it. You feel stress and then you binge eat. So you do have a coping mechanism. You binge eat. Right? Am I missing something? Now, I know, I'm not trying to be flippant here, but we need to see things clearly. Our language, sabotages us more than anything, because we say, oh, I can't stop eating, which I just see Miriam there says that, which we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I don't really have any coping mechanisms. Yes, you do. You got binge eating. And so if you start reframing this, yeah, my main mechanism for dealing with stress is binge eating, is how you should look at it. Because that goes back to what I was just saying. A lot of times we think in negatives. I don't have any mechanism. Yes, you do have a mechanism. You use it every time you get stressed. You binge eat. So as soon as we change the framing of that, because if you think I don't have any coping mechanisms, you're lost. Like, you're not seeing the situation for what it is. Once you say, oh, I absolutely have a coping mechanism for dealing with stress, I binge eat. It doesn't really help. It helps in the moment, but then it creates more stress ultimately. That's a great way to look at it, because that's actually accurate for what it is. Now, if you want to change that, that's up to you. But if you're just trying to stop using your coping mechanism, then it's never going to work. You have to come up with a better coping mechanism. And Miriam says, once I start eating bread, I can't stop. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. And I say that because, again, here's the words. And I know no one likes when people pick on semantics, but I can't stop. First of all, it's almost never true. If Miriam, if I put a loaf of French bread in front of you and butter, and I said, if you eat half that loaf of bread with butter, I got a suitcase with 100 grand in it for you. Would you be able to stop? I'm joking, but I'm kind of not too, because what we're capable of is much greater than what we think we are. And so if we keep saying, "Oh, I can't stop. Oh, I can't stop myself," like that's not true. You don't want to stop yourself. And I get it. I mean, once we get into the bread and the butter, I get it. Like the things change in our brain and we start thinking different. I get all that, but it's up to me to always point out that that's not accurate. Because if we say inaccurate things, we're lost right from the beginning. I can't lose weight no matter what I do. That's not true. But if you believe it, you're fucked. What are you going to do? If you believe no matter what you do, you can't lose weight, how hard are you going to try? What are you going to do? Nothing. You see? And so a lot of times our words limit us because they kind of control what we expect or assume we're capable of. And so, even eating the bread, oh, I'm completely out of control with the bread. No, you're not. You're in complete control of the bread if you choose to be. If the motivation's right. Maybe the motivation's not right. And on the other hand, some foods, obviously, I'm taking it to extremes. Some foods, obviously, once we get going with them, it's really hard to stop them. So those foods, we either stop eating them or we compress when we eat them. So I'm like that with, I'm not really like that with bread because I got good at, I can control how much bread I eat now, honestly. But what makes it a lot easier for me is I like I'll eat bread on the weekends and I don't eat it during the week. And so that just makes it easier. So that strategy helps out as well. But I'm in control. And again, listen to my languaging, right? I can't stop eating it. It's this weak, powerless language. And I'm in complete control of whatever I want to eat. I'm in control of the scale. I'm in control of what I weigh because I'm in control of what I eat and how I live. Think about that, right? There's a whole different vibe and feeling with that than how a lot of dieters talking about weight. So that's what I think. Lorena says, hi, I order almost all food from supermarket by courier. It's so much less thinking and bad choices. Yeah, Lorena, that's a great option that's really available for a lot of people now. So I agree. That's a good one. Because the first line of defense of eating well and losing weight is keeping the bullshit out of your house. I find that's a fascinating concept because if you don't believe hypnosis, how does that food get in your house? It's like, you're a different person when you order. Oh, why do you get that? If you want to lose weight, why did you buy a pint of ice cream at the supermarket and bring it home? So I can't stop eating ice cream at home. I can't stop eating ice cream and it's in my freezer. And I know it's there and I can't stop thinking about it. How'd it get there? Well, I bought it. I was going to have, do you know what I mean? Like it's so fascinating. Our brains are so funny the way they think about things, but yeah, your first line of defense is what you bring into the house. So yeah, good job, Lorena. That is true. Yeah. Ordering is a lot better. Sometimes I'm going to buy snacks or vegetables or some items, but very few times. Yeah, sure. What's up, Heather? I just bought a protein bar at the grocery store to hold me over. Got to manage that hunger. Yeah, absolutely, Heather. Now, again, protein bars are okay. Everything's relative, right? So it's like if you used to get cupcakes and Twinkies, getting a protein bar is better than that. Okay. But eating an apple and banana is way better than that. Protein bars are not your friends. You don't need as much protein as you think. Anyways, but anything that's processed is less. Again, it's always a spectrum, so we always measure things. I don't like the all or nothing thing because that makes it very difficult when you're starting out. But yeah, I would absolutely, for you, Heather, knowing your situation, I would absolutely start working on bringing an apple and a banana to see, like, this is the logistics for me. This is what I'm talking about with the supermarket, managing it. Like if you come into my house, 100% of the time, you're going to see that there's apples in the fridge. 99% of the time, you're going to see there's bananas in the thing. 99% of the time is going to be another fruit. Maybe it's mandarins or pears, or just, it kind of rotates. Monday through Thursday, you're going to find a giant bin of lettuce, greens for my salads. You know what I mean? And it just goes on and on. So it's like, I always have those foods available. So for you, Heather, like you can't be running to the supermarket to go to a protein bar. You want to pre-plan that and have a bag of apples and you bring the apple to work with you. You know what I mean? So it's already prepared. Man, I just did the lesson on this dopamine in your eating. It's just so fascinating. But this goes back to the eating blueprint, and everyone in the program, I just re-recorded that. That'll be up today. I've kind of shifted the membership site around a little bit. And one of the things you'll notice, this is kind of the shifts I made in the program, because I'm kind of shifting what I'm doing here a little bit, is that the program yourself then. Now, the two main things I want to focus, I realize there's a lot in the program. I'll be the first to tell you that. But I really wanted to dial down what's the most important pieces of the program. And it's these two things. It is the program yourself then technique, the reader rehearsal technique, and the eating blueprint. The eating blueprint, as I like to say in the trainings I just saying, it's your golden ticket. It is your golden ticket to get to your goal weight and live the rest of your life there on your autopilot. It's the roadmap that you create and follow. And so again, structuring your reading, it's like the idea of, you're going to be hungry this time when you eat a protein bar. So prepare for it better with a better option. And a better option is an apple or a banana or something natural. So, because you're in the optimization phase, Heather. Astrid says, what's the site name again to find words for example depressed? Oh yeah, that's Power Thesaurus. Yeah, that was fun, Astrid. Was it? Did you like that the other day? I know we were using you as an example. Sometimes it's not as fun for the person who's going to be using an example, but I hope you really appreciated that, because I find that to be a profound exercise. And what I'm referring to, Astrid, we were in we had a class the other day, and I was talking about how a lot of times, like someone might come and say, I don't want to be depressed anymore. I'm feeling depressed and I don't want to feel depressed. And so I always be like, well, what do you want to feel? I want to feel happy. And so we give some vague kind of simple answer, but I like to, okay, I want to feel happy. I'll take the word happy, go to the Power Thesaurus or any thesaurus you want, and I'll type in happy, and then it'll give me all these other words. And so what happens is you start developing more and more context. You might find a word you want more than happy, and we found a bunch of funny words the other day, but it's a fun way to do it, because it helps for reprogramming as well. So it gives you more context for what you actually want. Hey, what's up, Jody? Yeah. Nice to see you. I hope you're still here. Yeah, I will enjoy my vacation. I can't wait. Mario says, you're so right. I need to get a healthier coping mechanism. Yeah, there you go. It's fascinating. Again, the way we describe things. We say, I got no coping mechanisms for stress. Bullshit. You got binge eating, and that's number one by a mile, and there's no number two. And so when we've got to give ourselves autonomy. I got to do a lesson on this one. I'll do a podcast on this at some point, but it's such a humans need autonomy. We need to feel like we're making a choice. Thanks, Foxy. And so much with the diet mentality is we're taking choices away. I got to stop stress eating. Well, yeah, but what are you going to do though? You know what I mean? You're creating a vacuum. Dieters are always creating a vacuum in their mind. I got to stop eating ice cream. I got to stop eating sugar. I got to stop stress eating. Okay, well, great. You're going to stop doing all that. Now what are you going to do? Nothing. There's nothing there. So it's really about what are you going to do? And so, yeah, for Mario to see it that way, really, yeah, I got to, my number one mechanism is binge eating, but I don't like that. It's funny when we think of it that way, like you're actively using it to do that. And when you look at it that way, it's like, I don't want to do that. And now your brain starts to go, well, what else can I do? Great. Now we're on the right path, because once you figure out, you only need one thing. Once you find one thing that helps you manage your stress, now you've overcome your binge eating. Not exactly. I'm overstating it, obviously, but it goes a far way towards dealing with your stress eating. If you find a way to genuinely relax and calm yourself down, you have automatically improved your stress eating. I hope that makes sense. What's up, Karen? Miriam says true. Yep. Miriam says, I guess I have less control when to stop when I eat bread. There you go. That's a better way to frame it for sure. But Miriam, even stating it that way brings you closer to the solution. Like I've got less. Okay, I'll give you an example. Like we got a bread maker, and I've had this thing forever, but I remember when we first got it, I was like, Jesus Christ, I couldn't stop eating the bread. Warm, fresh bread is like you're saying. So I know what you're saying. I'm busting chops a little bit, but again, it becomes either you can develop the strategy to have it around, eat some of it, then stop, or you just can't. And so the strategy becomes, I'm not going to eat it, or I'm just going to eat it at certain times. And when I eat it, I'm just going to eat all of it, but I'm going to eat it with a clear head. That's kind of where I'm at. Of course, with the pleasure days, you end up not wanting to do that anyways, but I'll eat bread on the weekends and I can eat as much as I want, but I don't like eating a lot of bread anymore, to be honest. I do it occasionally, but it just doesn't feel that good. So, I know I'm going to stay calm today, but, it's like, yeah, I'm just let it go. But yeah, you have more control over that than you think, and if you don't, just let it go. Let's say CD fly free. CD flavor. I like that. I have diabetes and haven't eaten sugar or carbs in 3 months. Wow. No carbs? What do you mean by carbs? Because I gotta tell you, I don't care what people eat. Program Yourself sends a diet agnostic program. I don't care what people do, but I think there are best practices, and I think there's so much bullshit out there, and I think that's part of why people struggle to lose weight for sure. There's so many different plans and ideas out there, but the keto one I think is a silly one. I mean, again, there's different reasons for things, but the keto one for the average person is a very silly diet. Because some people take it to the level like they get so carb phobic that they don't even want to eat vegetables and fruits. And it's like, man, when you get into a headspace where you're like questioning whether you should eat a vegetable or not, you got to really take a step back and reflect. Only shop on the perimeter of the store. Yeah, for sure. They're mostly full of sugar and carbs. I mean, that is true in terms of the supermarket, like how to deal with it, like obviously. But I can walk through whatever aisle. I don't because again, but I'm in a different place than the average person. But yeah, if you're struggling with food and weight, walking through the supermarket is a dangerous place, So, but again, I mean, you mitigate that by going in with a list and a plan. I think a lot of this stuff's obvious, but sometimes the obvious needs to be said out loud. But I agree. Yeah, you gotta watch the middle of the store. It's tough. Heather says, only bought one and gave the guy the wrapper. It was desperate times. I get that, Heather. But that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to avoid desperate times. You know what I mean? So that's something I would redo or just at least pay attention to. I don't want to get into desperate times. I'm looking, and again, Program Yourself is a preventative mindset. It's a preventative approach. So all of a sudden it's like, oh my shit, I got really hungry and I had to go get the protein bar. Fine, that's fine. It happened. But now let's take a step and reflect so it doesn't happen again. It happened because you didn't bring an apple to work. I'm using the apple as an example, but it's like you weren't prepared well, because I know that's not the first time that's happened. I know it's not the first time you got hungry at that time of day. Like there's no way. And if it's a total outlier event, then that's fine. Just let it go. But if this is somewhat of a pattern or routine, I would absolutely work to optimize that. CD Fly Free. I'm a diabetic. I don't care what they say. Fruits that are high in sugar are no good for diabetics. Yeah, maybe. I mean, everyone's different, so yeah, if you're testing your blood and your glucose is spiking from fruit, but it's fructose in fruit anyways, so your liver handles that. It's a whole different process, but I don't know. But different fruits, they trigger different responses. But again, there's a lot of fiber in a food matrix and it's fructose, so I'm not sure, if you're eating fruit and your blood sugar spiking, then that's you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, because they're two different types of sugar. Bought everything else to set myself up for success. Good job, Heather. Paul says, I love being the example. It helps me. Yeah, for sure. You're a great example, Paul. You're just killing it. Myra says, I hope to get in better shape by my 30th birthday by the end of the year, but my strategies are so bad. I'll tell you one thing. I get what you're saying. We all set goals for ourselves, obviously, but it's like, if this is really important to you, and Mario, I know your situation a little bit, I would put 0. See, that type of thinking is setting you up for failure because it's conditional. I hope to get in better. The language is, I'm not picking on you, Mario, that you should, again, I say this like, people pay me 25 grand to work with me privately. So if it may feel like I'm picking on you a little bit, please know it's not that. I'm working to help you out here, because there's all sorts of, like in my mind, there's all sorts of red flags going up when I read what you wrote. So I'm going to tell you, because I always say, I believe this to my core. If you could do brain transplants and you could put my brain in literally anyone's body, we're going to start losing weight immediately. I have so many levels of weight mastery. I'm a master of weight. I'm a master of eating, mindset, lifestyle. And so we will start losing weight immediately. And it's because of this stuff here. My brain thinks completely different. And so I see the things that seem like they're good that are really sabotaging on the inside. And so I hope to get in better shape. Okay. So right off the bat, hope is a weak word. I hope it's not a very committed word, So again, I'd rather hear I'm going to get in better shape by my 30th birthday, right? By the end of the year. Okay. Then I see the but word. Every time I see a but word, right? That's where the crap comes from, right? So here comes the bullshit. And so as soon as I see but, I know it's going to be followed up with something. My strategies are so bad. Okay. And so that statement subconsciously means I hope I get better shape by 30th, but my strategies are so bad. I don't, you didn't finish what you're thinking. The quiet part is I hope to get in better shape by my 30th birthday by the end of the year, but my strategies are so bad. I don't think it's going to happen. You didn't write that part out, but that's what you're subconsciously following it up with. That statement leaves you deflated, like it's not going to happen. So I would rather say something like, I'm going to get in better shape by my 30th birthday by the end of the year because I'm going to improve my strategy systematically. And the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on relaxation because my biggest eating habit that's causing me the weight issue is my stress eating. So if I start to be more relaxed and calm, that's instantly going to help me with my stress eating, reduce it. And I'm going to feel a lot more calm centered. And that's going to help me make better food choices. So I'm going to commit to feeling more relaxed and calm. I'm going to wake up in the morning 5 minutes earlier. I'm going to take a few minutes. I'm going to quiet my mind and body down. Maybe I'll meditate. Maybe I'll just do some breathing, just some simple relaxation techniques. I'm going to check myself in the middle of the day. I'm going to set an alarm to take a deep breath and calm down. Then when I get home from work, I'm going to take another 5 minutes and really reflect and center and calm down. And before I go to bed, I'm going to take a minute and just breathe, calm down, and relax. So do you hear the difference between those two? I hope you do, because they're two totally different worlds apart. So true. I eat when I'm stressed. Yeah, most people do. That was too fast for me. Could you send me an email with the site name, please? Oh, I got you, Astrid. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thesaurus, do you know, I don't know. What's the Netherlands word for thesaurus? What's another word for thesaurus? I think that was a Stephen Wright joke. Someone's joke. That's a funny one though, right? But it was power, like POWER, power. And I'm only saying this because as soon as I turn this off, I got so much stuff to do. I know I'm going to forget and I don't want to forget. So it's power, like turn the power on. And then it's thesaurus, power thesaurus, just all one word though. You always make things sound so easy. Well, I do make them sound easy, but at the same time, I know, like I say both things because I say there's a path of mastery. It takes effort. It takes commitment and work. So there's that work for sure. But you get to a point where it's not that hard. It's like, it's really not, folks. I'm so fucking tired of pretending that weight loss is so hard. It's hard when you try and diet. It's hard when you try and do it and you fucking no idea how to influence your mindset, your lifestyle, your eating. Yeah, then it's really hard. But once you understand the things I show you in the program, it's like, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's like, I always make the comparison. This is how I think of it. It's like, if you went to plumber school or accounting school, and I'm not talking about either. You could be shitty with numbers, shitty with tools. But if you went to plumber school or accounting school, you would come out the other end being an accountant or being a plumber. You may not be the best plumber, the best accountant, but you would be a plumber, you'd be an accountant, and you could do the job. And it's the same thing with weight. Once you know the granular, systematic components of mastering your weight, you learn them and you get it. Like, you've never learned any of these things. I'll show you what I mean. In the program, we kind of follow like a weight mastery pyramid, which is mindset, lifestyle, and eating. And so these blueprints you fill out. And so mindset, for example, you've got a diet or mindset. You have no idea of a mindset of a thin, healthy person. Let's be honest. And so what do I mean by that? What are the components of a healthy mindset that's going to help you succeed? It's motivation. Do you know how to motivate yourself? And you don't know how to motivate yourself. You're not even motivated. That's why you can't get yourself to take action. And you don't know how to get yourself motivated. So don't you think that's important? Your self-image, your identity. You think of yourself as an overweight person. And until that changes, how would you live as a thin, healthy person? Your habits. Do you know how to strategically influence your habits? Or do you just use willpower and try and change everything at once? Do you know how to train yourself through your habits to be a thin, healthy person? You ever even thought that idea ever in your life? Emotions. Do you know how to feel the emotions you want to feel and deal with the shitty emotions you don't want to feel without food? You ever been taught that? Thinking. Do you literally know how to think like a thin, healthy person? The questions to ask, the way you think about food, the way you think about your weight, your health, your happiness. Maintenance. Do you know how to maintain? Do you know how to stay on track when you're stressed? When life's falling apart? Do you know how to keep going? And I know you don't. And I know you don't know any of those things really. So what chance do you have? It's like, if I don't know anything about plumbing, if I never learn about plumbing and I just walk, I don't know. Oh, plumbing's so hard. Holy shit. My toilet's running. I don't know how to fix it. Oh my God, my sink's leaking. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know. Plumbing's crazy. It's hard. I just walk around my whole life saying that. Well, take a little bit of time and learn it, and it won't be that hard. And this is the most like consequential area of your life. I say this all the time. I don't mean to bum people out on a Friday, but fuck your bathing suit goals. I don't give a shit about your skinny jean goal. I mean, you wanting to look better is not enough motivation. And if you don't believe me, let's talk about it. Right? Let's talk about it. It's just not enough motivation. The motivation really needs to come from the fact that you're going to die probably earlier if you don't get control of your weight, your eating, and your health. It's that simple. Like years. You're going to lose years of your life. Oh, those are shittiest years. Who cares? Are you crazy? You get one life. You really want to give up years of your life because you can't stop eating donuts and bullshit? So it's real deal stuff. You know what I know? I'm tired of pussyfooting around it. Like I really am. It's just, if you're not motivated by longevity and your quality of life, how you're going to feel when you get older. I don't know how old you are. If you're 20 years old, you're probably not listening to me, right? You're probably in your 40s, 50s, 60s if you're listening to me. And it's like, if your quality of life, your mobility, your strength, your balance, your ability to walk up and down the stairs, your ability to be free, independent, and live your life, if that's not starting to dawn on you that that's really important, and I better get my shit in fucking order, or else I'm going to, like, it's real problems. Yeah, it's one thing. Oh, I can't wear the bathing suit I want. Yeah, okay, I can't walk. I got diabetes. I need to go to the fucking hospital all the time. I might die earlier than I'm going to. Do you see what I mean? Like again, not to bust everyone's bubble, because I know, the weight loss, we just want to jerk around with like, oh, look like the after picture. I want to wear a bathing suit to the beach. Again, I want you to do that. Like that's fun too. But you need to have a much stronger foundational goal than that. And if you don't, like, let me know how it goes. This is just watched your clip about practicing. Hold on a second. Just watched your clip about practicing to be a thin person. Makes much sense. Yeah. Great. I'm glad, Lisa. So by the way, if you just watched that and you're not in my world yet, go to my bio. Do it now because you'll forget. Go to my bio, fill up the page. It takes a minute, 30 seconds. I'll give you a free hypnosis session and I give you a video. Watch that video because that video explains a whole lot of how to be a thin, healthy person. Yeah, but the concept of practicing being a thin, healthy person is so like out of left field for most people. But yeah, again, you tell me what in life that you've gotten good at that you didn't practice to get good at. Because the only thing we do that we don't practice to get good at is weight loss. Because you know what to do, right? You're just going to get yourself to do it. That's how that works. Except it doesn't work, but you keep doing it. So yeah, I'm glad you said that, Lisa. Mario says, I know you're never trying to be mean, Jim. You're super honest, and I'm so thankful. Good. I know you know that too, Mario. I'm speaking more to some of the new people. I think I'm such a jerk that just, people write stuff and I'm just like, being a jerk to them. But I have a bit of, I know Mario, but he shows up sometimes, so I could talk that way to him. Yeah, Parathosaurus. We'll have to check it out. I love Parathosaurus for sure. It's one of my favorites. Mario says, not sure if you remember, my whole family eats junk and I see them very often. So sticking to my own diet is so difficult for me. And they're very mad about me trying to diet. It's basically hell, but I don't want to give up. Being healthy and fit is my biggest goal. Yeah, Mario, I get it. And I've said this before. I do remember you. And that's a challenge for a lot of people. It was a challenge for me. I wasn't in the environment where there's a lot of supportive people. I did have one supportive person, and it was the most important one, which was my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. And I'm thankful for that. But outside of that, there was no support and there was active sabotage going on. So I get it to a degree. And I do believe it's a challenge. And I think there's ways you deal with that. The first one is you don't tell them you're dieting. You stop talking about it to them. You stopped completely. You never mention your weight and eating better with them ever again. That's what you do there. And then you go back into your room at night and you reflect on this being your biggest goal. You know what I mean? Like you get really fixated and focused on this being your biggest goal. This is what I want. And then you go to work on how can I deal with having this shit around me and still having control over it? Because you can be surrounded by shit. It's harder, no doubt. But you can be surrounded by shitty food and say no to it. No doubt about it. When your motivation's strong enough. So you got to really, really, really stay rock solid in your mindset and be focused. And that takes, again, I know, Mario, I'm assuming you've already gotten the hypnosis session and watched the video. Please watch the video. And so if you're on my email list, you better be Mario, because I know you've been around here for a while. But I know Kelly, it took her a couple months. So listen, for anyone who listens or watches this regularly, if you have not gotten the hypnosis session and watched the video, what are you doing? It's like you got to watch that. It's all free. Okay. Because then I send you other stuff. The thing I just most recently sent was a Spark program. I gave it for free. It's got the motivation challenge in it. Mario, I would watch the motivation challenge because you think you're motivated now. You're not. This will help really motivate you. And it'll help you get to a place where it doesn't matter what's around you. I don't want to eat it. I want to get my weight back. Okay. So I give that to you for free. I can't make you opt in though, folks. I can't just make you, I can't make you do it. I can't enter your name for you. You got to do that part, but I give you all the, it's good stuff. It's all stuff I've charged for in the past. All the emails I send you every day. It used to be a program I used to charge people for. I just give it away now. No one gives away more stuff than I do. I don't believe. And I continue to give things away. So, you better be in there, Mario. I don't know if you are or not, but you better be. Karen says, loving this day. You're so right. And tough love is the best. I know everyone loves the tough love. I always think like, oh, maybe I should do more of that. Then I get carried away, but we got to hear it sometimes, right? I mean, we got to just cut through the bullshit, and I say that because again, I do have your best interests in my mind. I want you to live as long as you can, be as happy as you can with yourself. And a lot of times to get to that point, we got to cut through the bullshit. Oh my God, weight loss. It's just a whole field of complete horseshit from one side to the other. I really mean that. I feel there's no other industry that's more full of shit than the weight loss industry. I really believe that. Betty says you're so real. It's unbelievable. Thank you, Betty. Vita, love the way open people eyes. Yeah. Trying to open people's eyes for sure. Getting old is hard enough and the weight makes it worse. Oh, absolutely, Karen. I was saying that, and I've been saying this the last couple of days, but I think it's a great motivation strategy is to go, however much weight you want to lose, go to the supermarket, the pet food store and get a bag of dog food that's that weight. I read someone did that with bird food, but you want to lose 50 pounds, go pick up a 50-pound bag of whatever and hold it in your arms. Because the problem with weight, one of the problems with it is that you habituate to it in real time. So the pounds come on 1 pound at a time and you habituate to it. It starts to just feel like, oh, this is what it is. It sucks. You don't like it, but you kind of get used to it. And so when we hold the bag in our hand, we start to really internalize, holy shit, I'm carrying this around every fucking day. Every step I take, I'm carrying this giant bag around with me. And then you start making connections like, no wonder I'm always tired. Holy shit. No wonder I'm tired. No wonder my knees are killing me. No wonder my hips hurt. No wonder I'm out of breath. You're carrying this heavy weight around. You're not thinking of it that way. It's a huge. It's not good for your body, but it's like it's just so tiring. So again, when you start to internalize it that way, you start to be more motivated for sure, right? Hippo potato tomato. That's the best name I've seen in a while. I'm so addicted to food. I anticipate it all the time. I think about what I'm going to eat every day. Yeah, I think about what I'm going to eat every day too, but we're addicted in different ways, right? Again, this is where it comes down to the structure. The light has been shined on me this last few weeks from my clients, really realizing the eating blueprint. It's two things in my program. That's why I've narrowed it down to the two key things. There's a lot of extra stuff if you need it, but the two key things you need an eating blueprint. You need to structure your eating. Okay. So, it's funny. You're anticipating all the unhealthy stuff. So you're doing what we do in the program. I had this same realization. I used to eat breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack every day. And so I was obsessed with food. All I did, I was thinking about the next thing I was going to eat, thing I was going to eat tomorrow. And that's what I started. That's literally where this program came from. Program yourself thin. Because I was programming myself fat because all I did was think about eating, unhealthy shit all day long. And I was looking forward to it. And when you anticipate it, you're totally right, because there's 3 phases of addictive eating. There's the anticipation, consumption, consequence. So what I'd suggest to you, hippo potato tomato, is I would suggest instead of spending all your mental energy on the anticipation and consumption, let's start shifting some of that mental energy over to the consequence. Huh? Yeah. The consequence, not the consequence of the weight, even the consequence that follows 5 minutes after you finish eating, how you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally. And if you start to divert some of that energy over to the consequence, how you feel, what the consequence of all that eating is doing to you, you're going to clarify things real quick. So again, this program is built for overthinkers that think all the time. The overthinking is not the problem. It's what you're overthinking. You're literally programmed to be overweight because you're always jazzing yourself up about eating something else. And you're never focusing on the actual consequence that it's accumulating in you. So Kelly says, I make 3 different meals for my family 3 times a day. Just meal plan and do what's best for you. There you go, Kelly. Yeah. So again, when there's a will, there's a way to some degree. Now, I believe that to a degree, but we also have to automate things. We can't always rely on excessive motivation. We also have to make things relatively easy for us, So yeah. I'm very similar, but trust me, you can control yourself around the food. You're stronger. I Mario, I apologize ahead of time again, but again, I know Mario a little bit, so I'm going to say this, but it's like, no one's going to like what I'm about to say. Everyone might leave after I say this, but I just got to say it. Like Mario's here, Mario's struggling with the food. Okay. But so if Mario says, I'm very similar, but trust me, you can control yourself around food. You're stronger. Like, you don't believe that. You don't exhibit that behavior. You're not stronger than the food if you don't have a good strategy and the right mindset. So the reason I'm saying this is we got to stop with the happy horseshit messages that aren't true, because they confuse us. You're not stronger than the food. If you keep thinking about food and anticipating the next food, you're not stronger than the food. You're going to keep doing the exact same thing you're doing because you keep building up the motivation to eat those foods by focusing on them so much. So you're not stronger than the food with that in that model. You're stronger than the food if you get your mindset right and your strategy right. So what Mario's saying is not true. You're not stronger than the food when you're around it if you don't have the right mindset and the right strategy, and you don't have either of them right now. So you're not stronger than the food. So don't take this the wrong way, but I can't see bullshit come by my way and not call it out, because as you all know, I take an oath of no bullshit. And so that applies to everyone. But anyways, I know you got good intentions, but that's not true. Karen said, I started eating a lot more high fiber foods and feel so much better and satisfied. Hey, Karen, thank you. Trying to heal my gut microbiome. Yes, thank you. Again, folks, fiber is nature's Ozempic. Okay, so if you think about going on Ozempic, but you don't want to go on the medicine, why don't you try eating some more fruits and vegetables for a little while and see what happens? All right, eat some more fruits, vegetables, greens, and beans and see what happens. You're going to be shocked. You're going to feel more satisfied. Works for everyone. Because fiber creates the same hormone that the Ozempic does. Ozempic increases your GLP-1 hormone. So does fiber. So give it a shot first. Valeria says, I'm loving the process, food, workouts, etc., but I'm discouraged because I'm not seeing results. Well, I get that though. But if you're loving the process, then love the process. You know what I mean? If you genuinely love the process, then you're going to do it regardless of what the results are. Right? And so you'll see results eventually, or you'll do the process for a while and then you'll figure out what you need to change and tweak to get the results you want. We got to stop. See, dieters, they're always thinking like, okay, here's my plan. Let me do it. It's such bullshit because, like you'll start day 1 of your plan and day 40 is the same plan you're doing. There's no growth. There's no evolution. There's no optimization, no tweaking that happened. It's bullshit. And so we start with a plan and then we keep tweaking and optimizing and changing until we start getting the results we want. And so, but Valeria, I don't know how long you've been doing this. How long you've been doing the process for? That's what the question I'd want to know. Okay, just to kind of calibrate that. NSP2 says, never thought of it that way. Makes sense. Probably why I'm always tired. Yeah, of course, right? Think about it. Carrying 50 pounds, 100 pounds around all the time. Oh my goodness. And that's not even taking into account all the things it's doing to you systematically. Spiking blood sugars, crashing blood sugars, the impacts on your pancreas, your liver. Hey, cut it out. The dog eating her feet. Pleasure Day's here again. Absolutely. Right, Don? Yes. Pleasure Day is a good one. Cut it out. Doing meal preps for 2 days right now. This week, I say my eating have been 4.5 out of 5. Great job, Lorena. That's great. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I can't see what that is, Astra. I see a bunch of little things. I can't tell what they are. They're too little. Kathy Dunn says, love you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Mara says, LOL, you definitely called me out. I guess I just want to believe that I have control over the food. But in reality, it's so much more complicated. Exactly, Mara. And that's why I say it. Because, if you're just thinking, see, this is very common. So we're getting to a really good place here, Mario. And this is going to help a lot of people. Because this is what almost every person who wants to lose weight is suffering with. Because what you don't realize is you've got this diet mentality. The worst part of the diet mentality is it's so simplistic, right? Basically, I would say dieting is basically just say no to food. Remember just say no to drugs in the 80s? Just say no to them. That's it, right? That's so stupid. There's no just say no recovery clinics that I know of, right? There's no recovery clinics that an addict goes to and they just like say no the whole time, right? It doesn't work, okay? We realize there's other things going on there, okay? So dieting is basically just say no to food. And it's this simple, superficial answer to a complicated problem. And the worst part of it is that you just, okay, well, I'll do the diet. It doesn't work. And instead of saying, oh, this diet's horse shit, that's not enough strategy, it's not giving me what I need to actually get what I want. Instead, you say, what's wrong with me? How come it's not working? What's wrong with me? It's so easy. Why can't I do it? And you get into this downward pit spiral of what's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It is more complicated. I'll give you that. That's why you need a holistic, comprehensive approach if you're going to master your weight. I've never seen anyone just diet and master their weight. I've never seen it. Everyone I've seen master their weight, there's always some component of a mindset piece, lifestyle piece, and then obviously an eating piece. And so if you think, oh, I'm just going to drink fucking apple cider vinegar, I'm just going to take a pill, I'm just going to eat tea, drink tea from the Amazon. Like, no, stop that shit. There are no shortcuts, but once you commit to the process, it's a lot easier. It's not rocket science. It takes a little time, but a year from now, you could be a master of your weight, and you're so fixated on the short term because of the diets that it doesn't work. So yeah, the main thing, Mario, you said that we really want to point out, it is more complicated, but it's not rocket science as well. You know what I mean? It's not like math. It's not, it's not physics. It's not things that are difficult. Like it's basic stuff. It's just that you never have learned any of this, So anyways, but once you realize that it's more complicated and what you've been doing isn't up to the task, I say like diets, metaphorically, a diet, it's like bringing a stick to a bazooka fight. A diet is not up to the challenge of actually all the things you need to do to master your weight. And so it's just is what it is, I've been adding psyllium husk and seems to be helping with fiber. Again, psyllium husk, Metamucil, again, that's one way to do it. But the best way is to actually consume the foods in their natural form. Fruits, vegetables, greens, beans are going to give you the greatest bang for your buck, because not only is the fiber in it, but you're getting all the micronutrients. There's the food matrix, which helps deliver them in the right order. And so again, the psyllium husk is a step in the right direction, but it pales drastically in comparison to real fruits, vegetables, greens, and beans. You'll get 10 times the benefit from doing that. Karen says, oh, the high fiber diet helping with my chronic fatigue also. Yeah, of course. Yeah, high fiber, which is funny to say it's high fiber. It's fiber. It's just a regular diet. You got to understand, in this culture with all the processed food, fiber doesn't process well. So it's probably the number one thing stripped from processed foods, and subsequently from our diet. The number one thing missing from your diet is fiber in its natural form. And, so our idea of a regular diet is way off base. Even paleo person, which I love the paleo people that don't want to eat carbs. It's like, what they don't realize is that paleo person now, they estimate, was eating 130 grams of protein of fiber a day, which makes sense because everything in the natural world other than meat's got fiber in it pretty much. So, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, our sense of what's high fiber, low fiber is way off. So what we consider to be high fiber is normal fiber. That's what I'm trying to say. I've been working out consistently and eating when I'm hungry and stopping at enough for 2 months. Okay, 2 months. So yeah, 2 months is nice, but 2 months isn't enough really to know exactly where you're at. But great job. And now what you do is don't get frustrated with results. Be proud that you've done this for 2 months. And now you start to look at what you're doing and what could I do? What could I tweak by 10% to see if I can kickstart some results? I'd look at the food. How can I cut 5-10% more calories out? What's something I could do, and see if that helps you out. It's fun to enjoy your food and feel healthy after instead of guilty. Yeah, absolutely. Right, Karen? For sure. Your content's been super helpful. I really appreciate your work. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And that's why I do it. I just want to help people here. My mission is to help as many people as possible live it at their goal weight. And that is why I do these podcasts for free. All right. Because I want to help absolutely everyone. If you want to take it to the next level, though, go to Program Yourself Thin and go check that program out. Because that's the way I've kind of shuffled the way I do things around a bit. Where it used to be that to work with me, you had to do the coaching program, but I no longer offer that for people. I have the regular program just on itself, but it's a lot cheaper for people. So I would, if you just want to get started with the program, it's $300, or you can even split the payments up. So that is something that's doable for a lot more people. And then, if you get into that and you do decide you want to make the real big commitment, work with me, then it's, you can do that as well. What can I do to stop sugar and junk? Okay, so this kind of gets me like it's not so much about what you have to stop doing, it's what you have to start doing as well. And so I think the best way to stop eating sugar and junk is to start eating more good natural food. So again, as often as we can shift from what we have to stop doing to what we want to do, I think the better. And so wanting to eat more natural whole foods, more fruits, more vegetables, that will probably, if you start doing that, you will probably eat less junk and sugar just automatically and you'll feel better. So I'll give you that as a solution. There's other ones, but I'm going to stick that one for now. Heather says, changing my workouts from heavy lifting to yoga and Pilates to help with my relaxation. Heather, that's a big one. That's really good. I like that. I think for you, that's the perfect thing to experiment with. I think that's a great job. Mario says, it's insane how normalized fast food has become in the world. No wonder why so many of us are fat. Yeah, it's not even just fast food. It's all the food pretty much. It really is something else. Probably one of the greatest conspiracies ever is how our food has shifted so dramatically. I'm wheezing here. I don't know what that's all about. Why am I wheezing? There we go. But yeah, normalize fast food. It's true because fast food, I mean, one of the distinctions you can start working on is really thinking about food and food stuff. Food being food that comes from the ground, natural whole foods, and food stuff is things that are processed. And I think that's a nice kind of line to draw in the sand to really clear your mind up because, yeah, you're right. We're so conditioned to think of all the bullshit as food, and it's really not. And so once you make that distinction and start putting real food in your body, it's very transformative in every way. So. Z, what's up, Z? Jim's the best. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Again, if you're not in my world, go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session, watch the video I made for you, read the emails I send you, and go check out that Spark program I give you guys for free. If you're really serious, go start the program and get going with that. Listen to the podcast on all the main platforms. Do one every weekday. And yeah, that's always fun. Thank you. Yes, I'm gonna have a super vacation. I will be back next Wednesday. So yeah, go listen to some old podcasts or go do some of the materials I give you during the week. All right. All right, everyone, have a super duper time. Thanks for the well wishes on the vacation, and then we'll talk soon. Bye.